This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Tonight we are continuing with Gemara, Masechet Berachot, and we are continuing with our subjects of tefillot, different prayers that we're saying. And last time we were speaking about importance of kavanah through tefilah, as we learned that one should not pray, as I said, tefilato keva, ein tefilato tachanonim. It's not a proper tefilah if it's keva. Then our Mishnah spoke about different types of short prayers. Someone who's traveling, and while they're traveling, they have to say a short prayer. They're in a dangerous situation. So we're going to learn that tonight. If you're looking in the art scroll, we are going to pick up from my Parashat Ibur. It's on 29B-2. However, and then normally on the screen I put up Safaria. Tonight we're going to try something new. This past week was there was a dance deals where ArtScroll was selling the entire digital app for $300. It was really an amazing deal. You got it at the end? You didn't get it, but you liked it. You got it. Then did you? Yeah, yeah. You could just buy a single Masechet. You don't need to buy the whole thing, but it was a great deal. Because of that, now that I bought it, we're gonna use it tonight. We're gonna try using I have the app on my iPad, and we're gonna use that tonight instead of using Safaria. And let's see how the experience goes. Let's see if ArtScroll can get their money's worth, their $300 worth. So we're gonna pick up. Let me go ahead and share screen on my iPad. Here, share screen. Start broadcast. Boom. Three, two, one. I am sharing screen. Pull up the art scroll, and then there we go. What? It's not working. Okay, there it is. There it is. We are now let me make this full screen for everyone. What is it? View full screen. Oh, exit full screen. I have to enter full screen. So this is just so that everyone who is in the room can see this. I don't know why this time it didn't. It's not. All right, whatever. We're going with it. Tonight we're going to learn Masechet Berachot, Daf Kafter Amud Bet. We have to remind ourselves what it says in the Mishnah. So our Mishnah said we're picking up from Amar Rabbi Lazar. No, not tefilat keva. We already did this one. This is the one that we're going to do. Ham halech derech sakana b'mkom sakana. So here's we are in the Mishnah. I just want to remind us what our Mishnah says. So you see that it says Mishnah in blue. I'm going to tap that. It's going to pop up what our Mishnah said last time. What our Mishnah said last time was, can you see that or not? Yeah, I guess you could see it, right? This is what happened, our Mishnah said last time. Rabbi Yeshua said, Ha'olech b'mkom sakana. If someone is traveling and they're in a dangerous place, mitpalel tefilah kitzara, while they are in this difficult place, they should say the following. This isn't really an Amidah. This is when someone is in a difficult situation, a dangerous place. A person should say, Ve'omer, Hosha Hashem et amacha et sherit Israel. Hashem, please save et sherit Israel. What is that? Okay, cool. Hosha, no, it doesn't really help. Never mind. Hosha, Hashem et amachai et sherit Israel. Save Hashem, your nation, the remnant of Israel. Bechol parashat ibur, at every junction of ibur, at every moment of ibur, yu sorchechem lefanecha. Their needs should be in front of you. At every ibur, you should think about what they need. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed are you Hashem, shomea tefilah, who hears our prayers, who hears prayers. So in this short tefilah, someone is in a very dangerous situation. He essentially says, save the Jewish people. Whenever we're at a parashat ibur, take care of their needs. You hear our prayers. Baruch atah Hashem, you hear our prayers. What does that mean, parashat ibur, whenever we're at a parashat ibur? So let's go ahead. That's going to be the topic of our Gemara. There's two opinions. We didn't translate it yet. They translated it. Look at the English. At every Parsha Sa'ibur. They didn't translate it. Oh, now you're gonna say, oh, you like Safaria more because Safaria might have translated it, but they are not translating it because the Gemara is going to do that right now. What does the Gemara say? My Parashata Ibur. What is the meaning of Parashata Ibur? Amar Rav Chasta, Amar Mor Ukva. Rav Chasta says the name of Mor Ukva. Afilu bisha'a she'ata mitmale alehem evra. keisha ubara, it's a play on two words. Even in a moment that you are filled with anger, the word evra, which is parashat ha'ibur, the word evra means anger. This is actually a word that Moshe Rabbeinu uses in the Torah, and he says, "Vaitaber Hashem bi l'ma'achem." Hashem got angry at me. So the word ibur comes from the word being angry. Also, keisha ubara, like the word a woman who is ubara. What is it? Ubara? Pregnant woman. So the word ibur sounds like evra, which is anger, and ubara, which is a pregnant woman. So it's like saying, Hashem, when you are ibur of ibur, when you're so angry that you're filled with anger, like a pregnant woman is filled with a baby, meaning it's like as though you're so filled, it's a play on this word ibur. You should, may all of their needs be in front of you. So one way of saying this, and Ilan, I'm going to address why don't we say it directly. One way of what this means is, even when you're angry with us, please Hashem, answer our tefillot. Now, how come we don't say it? Because you don't want to say those words, that Hashem, you're angry at us. You say it in a pun. You're really saying it almost like in a pun way. At every parashat ibur, which means at every junction, what type of junction? At every moment that Hashem is angry, and he's so angry that he's filled like a pregnant woman, which is the play on that word, still Hashem, praying for us to be successful. Okay. Yes, that's the first explanation. Ika Amri, there's another version of what this another version of what this means. Amar Chasta, Amar Murakva. Afilu b'shah shem ovrim al divrei Torah. The word ibur from the word avera. Even when they are doing averot, afilu b'shah shem ovrim al divrei Torah. Even at the times when they are going against it, transgress the Torah, all of their needs should be before you. So let's just see how the art scroll works. Okay, so over here there's a footnote 15. I see it on the bottom, but I want to tap it. I tap it, it gives me this on the bottom. Let me see, can I make this bigger? Yeah, let's make the font size a little bit bigger so you guys could see. Okay, go back. Good. Now I have to go down. Where are we up to? Here. Footnote 15, let me tap it again. Let's bring this up for a second. According to this reading, the word ibur means to veer off, like avera, towards sin. According to either version of Rav Chista's teaching, the sense of this prayer is that even when God becomes angry with them, that's the first explanation, or when they become mired in sin, that's the second explanation, he should not lose sight of their needs so that they remain self-sufficient and do not become dependent on other nations for support. That's why it says when someone is in a very dangerous situation, they should say this tefilah, because being in a dangerous situation, if Hashem is upset with someone, if they're doing averot, that's very dangerous. So in that moment, we're praying for Hashem to take care of them in good health. Okay, let's keep going, yeah? Let's bring this down. Kill the footnote. I still don't know how to do this. Take away the highlights. How do you take away the highlight? We'll find out later. Let's just keep going. We learned by the way, guys, we're using Art Scroll app tonight. Did you guys, either of you guys buy it? No? They were selling it last week. I sent it in the chat. Okay, we're trying it. Let's. Yeah. We'll see. Instead of Safari, Safari happens to be free, so it's cheaper than $300. But I want to try it. We learned in the Braita Hamalech b'mkom gedudei chaya. If a person is traveling and in this place there's a lot of wild animals, listim, there are bandits, robbers. Mitpalel tefilah kitzara. Someone is in a dangerous situation and he has to pray. You have to pray a short tefilah. We learned in Masechet Berachot at one point where someone told someone that you should have been praying a short tefilah. Anyone know? It was a dangerous situation and someone said, hey, you should have done a tefilah kitzara because it's a dangerous situation. Where was that?
In the beginning, in the first few dapim.
In the beginning, in the first few dapim, yes, Mr. Hakimi, very good. You are correct. And you are also correct. It was Eliyahu Hanavi was telling someone. What happened? He went inside of a dilapidated building, it's Daf Gimel, he went inside of a dilapidated building to pray. And he said that he wanted to go somewhere private. He didn't want to pray in the road. So he told him, you should have prayed at tefilah kitzara. You're right. But if you're worried about being on the road where it's dangerous, instead of going into another dangerous situation, just do the tefilah kitzara. Do a short prayer. Now, how is a tefilah kitzara? By the way, we had another shortened tefilah that we spoke about. Anyone remember what was it called? Very good. It's called Havinenu. What is the structure of Havinenu? Remind me, before we do tefilah kitzara, what is the structure of Havinenu? It combines all of the berachot in a single master bracha, where you say 2-3 words from each, but there's one more thing about that. Exactly. It's the middle brachot, starting from bracha of atachonen, bracha number 4, until shomea tefilah. All of that is combined, but you still need to say the first 3 brachot, and you still need to see the last 3 brachot. So it's a truncated middle of the Amidah. Tefilah kitzara is going to be when someone is in danger, and it's going to be much shorter because they're in a dangerous situation. It's like your tefilah is going to be 10 seconds. It's instead of Shemona Esrei. It's instead of Shemona Esrei, and the Gemara is going to say that it's not the same level of Havinenu. The Gemara is going to talk about it. But yes, a person is going to be praying this instead of Amidah. Instead of Amidah. Let's do it one more time. One who travels in a place infested with bands of wild animals and robbers prays a short prayer. Ve'ezohi tefilah kitzara. And what is this short prayer? Different opinions. Opinion number 1 is Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer omer aser resonecha b'shamayim mimal. God, do your will in the heavens above. V'ten nachad ruach lire'echa mitachat. And grant peace of mind to those that fear you below. Ve'atov be'einecha aseh. And whatever is good in your eyes, do for them. Baruch atah Hashem shomea tefilah. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hears prayer. Okay? Very short. There's really 3 phrases here. Do above. Do your will from above. Do what's good for us here down below. And whatever is good in your eyes, you should do. By the way, this concept here of whatever is good, what is good in your eyes, do for them. It's saying here, oh, cool. Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, if they must be punished, let it be you and you alone who does it. Do not deliver them into the clutches of creatures who will have no mercy on them. What it's saying here is that, let's say, for example, someone deserves punishment, and he's in a place where there's wild animals. Part of his tefilah is, Hashem, I know that I might deserve to get punished right now, but I'm asking ve'atov be'enecha aseh, to do it good in your eyes, meaning I want it to come from you, not from some animal. Now, obviously, it would be coming from Hashem also. But here the tefilah is essentially saying that whatever is good for me, you should do. It's a little bit like this tefilah is almost accepting that something bad might happen. You get it? It's almost accepting that whatever is meant to be, Hashem, please make it happen. It's like you're saying a tefilah. It's almost like just mentally preparing you for it's a very dangerous situation. A tefilah is, Hashem, please from above do what's good, make it good for us down here, and whatever is good in your eyes you should do. With the idea of like you're almost accepting that if something bad happens, that I accept that it's coming from Hashem.
Not in lieu of separate prayer for the circumstance.
So correct. So this is in the place of Amidah when it's a dangerous situation. So someone is in a dangerous situation. He doesn't have time to do a full Amidah. He doesn't have time to do a Havinenu. He's got like, look, I need to keep both eyes open. So say a prayer that's 5 seconds. So when you say in lieu of Amidah, yes, he's doing this in the place of Amidah. Now, after we're going to see in the Gemara that afterwards, if the situation calms itself down, he still needs to pray Amidah because he didn't do the full Amidah yet. But this is going to be because he's not going to pray Amidah under these circumstances. He can't. So this is in lieu, but it's not at the same level. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. You're saying if I want to say it.
Yeah, you feel like you're scared.
Yeah. I would imagine yes. So your question is, what happens if I already prayed Amidah and I don't need to do this in place of Amidah, but I'm in a dangerous situation and I want to say tefilat to Hashem? Okay, very good. It's a good question. We're going to see that in a different context of the concept of tefilat derech, where a person has nothing to do with tefilah. It has nothing to do with the Amidah, rather. It's a separate prayer for traveling. Very interesting. I don't think this is what you would need to say it, but you're asking if I want to say it. Yeah, how can you stop someone from saying tefilah? Ulvai. Okay, good. That was answer number 1 of Rabbi Eliezer. So remember, our Mishnah told us that if someone is in a dangerous situation, they should pray a tefilah kitzara. Our Braita says. So what is that tefilah kitzara? Rabbi Eliezer gives us the first answer. Yes.
time of day you say, like, can this replace any Amidah?
Well, no, it doesn't matter. It can replace any Amidah. Meaning, are you saying like if it's nighttime, it's like worse than daytime? Yeah, this is basically in a situation in which you cannot do your Amidah. You can't do Amidah. You're not going to be able to do Amidah when you have this overhang. It's a dangerous situation. There's all of a sudden there's a bear over there. You're not going to be praying. You're not going to be singing the Hashem Sefadai Tiftach and tell him to wait, don't come in my 4 amot. It's not going to work like that. We're talking about a dangerous situation. A person lets this prayer out, and it's almost like this is taking the place of his Amidah. It doesn't matter which tefilah. Excellent question. Okay, second opinion is Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Shema Shav'at Amecha Yisrael. Hear the cry of your nation Israel. Va'aseh mehera bakashatam. And fulfill their requests immediately. Why? Because I don't need Hashem to save me tomorrow. I need Hashem to save me right now. So, and again, we're trying to keep it short. Hashem, hear their cries and save them immediately. Baruch atah Hashem, Shomei tefilah. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hears prayer. That's answer number 2. Answer number 3 is Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Sadok. The text is as follows: Shema tza'akat amecha Yisrael. Hear the cry of your nation. Va'aseh mehera bakashatam. It's almost exactly the same as the last opinion. Baruch atah Hashem, Shomei tefilah. Just instead of it being Shema shave'at amecha Yisrael, it's Shema tza'akat amecha Yisrael. Exactly the same. Let's see what the footnote says. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Sadok's version differs from the previous one. Only in the previous one it contains the word shave'at amecha, and this one says tza'akat amecha. Apparently, one term is stronger than the other, and they have a machloket as to which term you should say. Fine. That's the third opinion. Acherim Omer, the fourth opinion, he says, very nice, tefilah. It's a little bit longer, but there's a little bit more to it. Tzorchei amecha Yisrael merubim. God, we need many things. We have many needs. V'da'atam kitzara. And our minds are limited. We don't even know what we need. A person who's in a dangerous situation doesn't even know what they need in that moment. There's this from this side, but it could be something else from the other side. Or it could be they don't even see who's there. It could be that they don't know there's an animal from where. It started off by saying, Hashem, we have a lot of needs, and we don't even know what those needs are. V'da'atam kitzara. And actually the way the footnote here is saying it is that they don't know how to articulate their needs. We don't know how to say what we need. May it be your will, Hashem, that everyone has what they need in order to sustain, in order to survive, and that everybody has whatever it lacks. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hears prayer. That is the fifth opinion or the fourth opinion? We had number 1 was Rabbi Eliezer, number 2 was Rabbi Yoshua, number 3 Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Sadok, number 4, number 4 is Acherim. So it's the fourth opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth opinion says a little bit longer. We have a lot of needs. We don't know how to articulate what our needs are. Hashem, please make sure everyone has what they need. Baruch Hashem Shomei tefilah. Bless you, Hashem. Amar Rav Huna, who is an Amorah, says halacha ka'acherim. The halacha is like this last opinion that is the beracha. Something very nice about this is that it's almost saying that we acknowledge that we don't know what we need, right? That's what he's saying is Amecha Yisrael. We have a lot of desires. We have a lot of needs. We don't even know what those needs are. So Hashem, since you know what our needs are, give it to us. And this concept of this tefilah actually applies to all the time. There are times where we say we want something. There's a time a person wants a certain job, a person wants a certain relationship, a person wants a certain event to occur, a certain outcome to occur, and that's something that they strongly desire. But what if that's not what's best for us? What if getting this job is actually going to be bad for us? What if getting this parsa is going to go to our head and then it turns us against our family? What if having this good fortune is actually going to be some sort of a curse in disguise? And what happens if what seems to us as a curse is actually in one way or another a blessing in disguise? So as part of this tefilah, Acherim is almost chalking it up to Shamayim and saying, we have a lot of needs and we don't know what we need, so please give us what we need. As if to say, it doesn't say, save us. The previous one, it says, save us from all of the difficult situations. Hear our cries. Hear our outcry. Here he's just saying, we have a lot of needs and we don't know how to say what we need. So Hashem, please give it to us. It's almost as if saying, I'm throwing myself into your hands. Yes. Yes.
That's I think we're doing everything that's right.
Yes.
Bad is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It comes from a sense of humility to say that Hashem, I know any punishment that I'm getting is my own fault. This is actually fitting with what we said last week. Do you remember there was an opinion that says how said tefilato keva and tefilato v'tachronim? That means that a person's tefilah has to be coming from a place of humility. Here's a little bit different though. It's not saying that Hashem, what you're doing is correct and what I'm doing is incorrect, and I sin and I accept what you're giving me. Here it's saying, Hashem, I don't even know what I need. I need so much, but I don't even know what I need. Please give it to me. Instead of asking for something specific, a person could say, Hashem, please save me from this bear. Okay, little do you know there's another bear behind your back. Little do you know that there's actually someone who's about to jump you. Like, you don't even know what I need. I know I'm in a dangerous situation, but I don't know what the dangers are. So I chalk up the tefilat to Hashem and I say, Hashem, I know I need something. I don't know what it is. This is coming from a place of humility, and in fact, this is what some really there's a tefilah that I've seen that this is what someone can say at the end of their tefilah. Ribbono shel olam, I'm asking you for a lot. I'm asking you for parsa. I'm asking you for briut. I'm asking you for shalom bayit. I'm asking you for children. I'm asking you for a family. I'm asking you for all of the above. If any of these things that I'm asking for, to my surprise, is actually not good for me, then I don't want it. I want what's best for me. Whereas, again, it's coming from a place of humility by saying that I don't know what I need. You still have to ask for it. You shouldn't say, well, I don't know, so I might as well not bother. No, tefilah is necessary. Tefilah is part of the process. A person needs to pour out his heart to Hashem and beg and ask. That's part of the process. But included in that is the humility of understanding that I also don't know. I also don't know what's good. So here, all of a sudden, I think this is bad for me. Is actually the best thing that could have happened. And there are situations like that afterwards you're able to look at it and say like, Baruch Hashem, this worked out. Because if I would have got what I wanted, I would have been dealing with a headache right now. Okay, shall we continue? Let's do it. Which screen am I using? Hold on, sorry, 1 second. I am in this Zoom share screen. For whoever missed it, we are now using the Art Scroll app. So since we're using the Art Scroll app, we're using my iPad that decided to freeze. The reason I'm using the Art Scroll app is because there was a nice dance deals. Happy birthday. I think it was JJ. I don't think it was Dan. I think it's his brother. Happy birthday. And because of you and your zechut, we are learning off the Art Scroll app tonight. Next story. Amazing story. Who here gets drunk a lot? Anyone here get drunk? Whoa. People on the Zoom are going crazy. Not right now. You're getting drunk right now. You should not be drinking while you're learning Gemara. Don't drink and learn. But okay, whoever gets drunk a lot, this Gemara is very important for you. Amar le Eliyahu le Rav Yehuda achua de Rav Salah Chasida. Okay, Eliyahu Hanavi once appeared to Rav Yehuda, who was the brother of Rav Salah Chasida. There's this great rabbi, very famous. His name is Rav Salah Chasida. His brother Rabbi Yehuda once had a situation where Eliyahu Hanavi appeared to him. Lo tirtach, he taught him the following 3 rules. Lo tirtach v'lo techeteh. Do not become angry and you will not sin. If you want to prevent yourself from bad behavior, from sinning, from doing things that are wrong, control your anger. Because if you can't control your anger, in the moment that you become angry, you become completely irrational. Here, how do I get rid of this? Yeah, that's what I want to do. You become completely irrational. And if you're becoming completely irrational, you're going to start making some mistakes by sinning. You're going to say the wrong things. You're going to regret it afterwards. So he says, Lo tirtach v'lo techeteh. Just if you don't become angry, you won't sin. Second thing, Lo tirveh v'lo techeteh. Do not become intoxicated and you will not sin. Here's another thing that leads to sin, becoming drunk. When someone drinks, they stop thinking rationally. They lose their rationality, the being able to think about what's correct and what's not, being able to think about the outcomes of your actions, and then you lead to sin. That's the second thing that he said, and we're going to talk about each of these, but let's just do all 3. Third thing, Ukshe'ata yotze laderech. And when you set out on the way, when you're going to travel, himalech b'konecha v'tzeh. Before you go, request permission from your owner, from your creator, from that whom created you, for that who created you, meaning God. Before you travel, ask for permission. So the Gemara says, Mahi malech b'konecha v'tzeh. What does that mean to beg leave of your creator and then set out? How do you ask permission of your creator to leave? Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Chisda. Rabbi Yaakov says, Zo tefilat derech. That is the prayer of tefilat derech. This prayer is distinct from prayer of one who travels through a dangerous area discussed until now. So this is going to answer your question, Ben. As the Mishnah taught, that prayer is recited only when the traveler finds himself in an unsafe territory. Furthermore, it is recited only when the traveler would, under normal circumstances, recite the Shemona Esrei. But now, due to the dangerous situation, cannot muster the proper concentration. So there, from that footnote, Ilan, it sounds like tefilah kitzara. If you don't need to pray Amidah, you don't say it. That's what it sounds like from here. We could look up the Mishnah Berurah, and look at this. I'm going to tap this blue little guy here, and it brings up the Mishnah Berurah. Ritzanon lamar lefi she'az eno meyushav da'ato klal ulefikach patru az militpalel afilu tefilat Havinenu. Okay, so he says how since you can't have kavanah in that moment, instead of praying Amidah, you don't need to pray Havinenu. You could do the short-term prayer of tefilah kitzara. This short one that we had 4 opinions. The wayfarer's prayer, however, what we're talking about now, tefilat derech, which the Gemara now proceeds to discuss, is recited whenever a person travels, even if in an area that he's going is safe. Moreover, it bears no connection to the Shemona Esrei obligation. Even one who sets out on his journey after having prayed shacharit, for example, and will reach his destination before the time of mincha arrives, he is obligated to recite this prayer. So that is a separate prayer, a separate requirement of tefilat derech. When someone travels, Eliyahu Navi told Rav Yehuda, the brother of Salah Hasidah, that before you go, you have to do tefilat derech. Now, did we learn it from him? No, we have other sources for it also. I'm going to read the other sources. I want to then circle back to the anger and the drunkenness, but let's finish this flow. Here, let's bring the footnotes down. Guys, don't you love this app? I love it. When someone is going to travel on the road, he needs to set out and say the tefilah of tefilat derech. What my tefilat derech? What is it? Here we go. I see what happened. I scrolled down and I'm turning to the next daf, so don't scroll down anymore. My tefilat derech. What is tefilat derech? May it be your will, Hashem, my God, that you lead me toward peace. That where I'm going, lead me to the direction of peace. And make my footsteps toward peace. And uphold me in peace. You're praying for peace. And rescue me from the hand of every foe and enemy along the way. Hashem, send blessing to my handiwork, meaning I'm going on a trip. Presumably you're going to go do something, that you're asking for success wherever you're going. And grant me grace, kindness, and mercy in your eyes, and everyone who sees me. Again, I'm going to a certain place. I'm going to be encountering different people. God, please help me to have grace and be able to have the relationships wherever I'm going. Baruch Hashem, blessed are you, Hashem. Shomea tefilah, you hear our prayer. So we just said a bracha of someone who is traveling on the way. It's called tefilat derech. Someone is going on it doesn't have to be a dangerous trip, as we said in that footnote. It's just someone who is traveling. They have to, at the beginning of their prayer, at the beginning of their trip, they say a prayer of Hashem, guide me in the direction of peace, take me in the place of peace, make me be successful, make it that everything that I do, the work of my hand is successful, that I have grace in people's eyes. Hashem, you answer tefilah. I'm going on a trip, may my trip be successful, is essentially what you're saying. One thing to point out, though, is that everything was said in first person. Like, for example, Shetolicheni leshalom, lead me toward peace, and place my footsteps toward peace. Uphold me in peace. Prevent me from all of these issues. Make my handiwork successful. Amar Abaye says, and now we're turning to Daf Lamed Amud Aleph. We just turned the page to 30A. Abaye says, lishtatef inish nafshe b'hadei tzibura. A person reciting this prayer should include himself with the tzibur, with the congregation. Hechanami, how do you do it? Hechinema, how should you say it? Yisam lefenach Hashem Elokeinu. May it be your will, Hashem, our God, not my God. Shetolichenu l'shalom. Lead us toward peace. And place our footsteps toward peace. Give us the ability to be successful. And give us the ability to have people we find favor in people's eyes. So he says, Abaye is teaching us something important, that when you say a tefilah, even though you're the only one traveling, there's no one else with you, that you're saying, us, there's no one else there, it's just you. But still, the lashon that you use should be in plural, because you're praying for yourself and you're praying for some other brother of yours or sister of yours that's traveling and need this tefilah. Because the more you include other people will include you. That is exactly how we do it. That is the halacha. We do include other people, even if you're alone. Why? Because you're praying for others. It doesn't cost you anything. You're saying a prayer for traveling by just changing from a yud to a nun. Instead of saying me, you, us, it doesn't cost you anything. You're thinking about others as well. And that's what Abaye is telling us, is that, here, look at footnote number 1. Boom. He should not recite this prayer in the singular, but rather in the plural, so as to include any others who might be traveling at the same time. For in this merit, his prayer will be more readily accepted. Okay? So that's what this is saying. By saying it as plural, you're coming to include others with you. Question, yeah.
The other prayer when you're in danger, because that when you're saying like I don't know what I don't know everything that I need, whatever. How come you're just using first person, like I versus me now?
Is that okay? Good question. Hold on. And now I'm scrolling up.
I have.
Okay. I'm scrolling up. So it is actually saying it in a little bit of a plural. So let me share screen. I don't know why I stopped sharing. Share screen, start, switch. I'm gonna get better at this. Switch here, get rid of my face. Boom. Okay, I got it. So here is the bracha. The needs of your entire nation are a lot, but their mind is limited. May it be your will, Hashem Elokeinu, our God, that you should give to each and every one of us, and everybody what it needs. So you actually are thinking about others. You're not just thinking about yourself. So it actually lines up pretty nicely. That when someone says a tefilah in a dangerous situation, they should be thinking about others as well. And in that zechut, their tefillot will be answered because you're praying for others as well. Yeah. Okay, very good. That is clearly a difference. The bracha that he said is that there's a timing. When do you say tefilah kitzara in the moment of danger? When do you say tefilat derech? Before you start going. Or okay, so you know what? Let's see right now, because the Gemara right now is going to ask us a question. The question is, Eimat mitzaleh. When does he recite this prayer? At what point of his journey this is the obligation upon him to say it? Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rav Chasta, Misha'a shemehalech baderech. The obligation begins from the moment he starts to travel, which means you shouldn't say this when you're sitting at the gate, right? You're sitting at the gate, you're not traveling yet. Maybe even when you're sitting on the plane, you're not traveling yet. I guess if it starts moving, then you start it. Like you don't actually have to be up in the sky for it. Like when it's moving, you're moving. But if you're not moving, you're stationary, you know you're going, but still, you don't go yet. Now, next question. Ad kama, until when may he recite it? And there's going to be 2 ways to explain this. So we'll do both of them. When do you start? When you start traveling. Until when? Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rav Chasta, ad parsa, until a parsa. A parsa is, it's about 4 miles, right? Parsa is 4 mil, which is about 4 kilometers. I apologize. It's about 4 kilometers. And it's telling us that a person, and we equate that each meal takes on average, there's different opinions. But let's say 18 minutes to walk a meal. It takes 18 minutes to walk a meal. So this is the concept of a parsa is actually 72 minutes. This number is going to be very important, 72 minutes, because there's going to be 2 ways to understand this Gemara. What the question now is, let's just say parsa is the amount of time it takes someone to travel 72 minutes. Opposite. The amount of travel one can do within 72 minutes. Okay? So, what this is saying is, when do I start saying the bracha of tefilat derech? When I start traveling. When is the last moment that I could say it? Within the first 72 minutes of travel. So even though you're traveling for 5 hours, you could only say it at the beginning. Why? Because you're praying for your trip to be successful. Yeah, it's nice of you to say it once you've been traveling for a couple hours. Remember, how did Eliyahu Navi say to Rabbi Yehuda? What was his advice? He said, before you go, ask for permission. It's almost as if this is something you have to say at the beginning of your trip. So that's why the way Rashi explains is, until when may he recite it? Until a parsa. Until a parsa means until 72 minutes. But there's another way to explain it. What's the other way to explain it? What is the minimum amount of distance that I need to travel to be required to say tefilat derech? So for example, right now I'm going to drive home. I'm going to walk home. It's going to be 5 minutes. Oh, tefilat derech. Am I going on the road? Yeah. So let me say tefilat derech. As soon as I start walking, I'll say tefilat derech until I get home. And then when I come, and then if I want to go to the bathroom, another bracha. And then when I want to go get water in the middle of the night, another bracha. Like what? So you need to have some minimum amount to say, okay, now this is a travel. What is that? 72 minutes, which means it's not telling you that you have to say the bracha within the first 72 minutes of your journey. It's telling you that if your journey is less than 72 minutes, you don't say a bracha. If you're driving from here to Queens, you don't say a bracha. It's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That doesn't require it. Correct. Hold on. Let's not go there for a moment because they didn't have that. Okay? Let's not go there for a moment. Let's understand the Gemara. It's a good question for. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Let's not go there for a second. Let's just understand the two opinions here of the Gemara. You're asking a very good point. The question, by the way, for those on the Zoom, the question is like, if I'm traveling on foot, 72 minutes is it's a very different measurement than if I'm driving in a car, which is a very different measurement than if I'm going on an airplane in 72 minutes. In 72 minutes, you could be in Boston. Flight to Boston, I used to take them when I was working there. 45 minutes. Washington, D.C., a flight to Washington, D.C., 45 minutes. Even Chicago is pretty quick. If you take one of these. Okay, look at this footnote number 3. So what does it mean, this parsa? He must recite the prayer within the first parsa of his journey. Once he has traveled more than a parsa, however, he may no longer recite this prayer. For doing so, this far into the journey is no longer considered begging leave from one's creator. Others explain, that's the second point, that the Gemara to be inquiring as to the minimum distance a person must travel in order to be obligated to this prayer. The Gemara replies that his journey must be at least a parsa, because within a parsa of the city is not considered dangerous. How do we hold? Halacha l'maaseh. We hold like both opinions. The halacha, a person should only say tefilat derech if he's going on a journey that's at least a 72 minute journey, really 4 parsa. The mode of transportation that you're going, really. So if you're driving for 72 minutes, it's a 72-minute journey. If you're flying on a plane, it's a 72-minute journey. Now, a couple things here. You should still, even though we hold like that opinion that the minimum distance, the minimum travel time has to be 72 minutes, it's also that you should say, if you're traveling to Australia and you're going to be on a plane for the next 22 hours, also we hold like Rashi, that you should say tefilat derech at the beginning. So we really hold of both. There's a lot of discussion about what if my back and forth is going to be 72 minutes, which means I'm driving to Brooklyn. How long is your drive to Brooklyn? An hour. If I go drive to Brooklyn and back, I'm going to be behind the wheel for more than 72 minutes. Honestly, I think Brooklyn itself requires like a couple of things, because just getting from one road to the next is a little bit dangerous. There's always, every time, Baruch Hashem, Brooklyn is a very difficult place to drive. But okay, so that we hold that if it's a back and forth journey, 72 minutes, that also requires with a stop, because it's part of your travels. But I think it's only if it's the same day. If it's the same day, yeah. So what happens if I work in Brooklyn every day? Or the way the halacha asks the question: what happens if I am a pilot? I'm a pilot. I have routes every day. I'm traveling 72 minutes every day, or I'm a Egged bus driver, and I'm driving from the Darom to the Safon. I'm driving from, Eilat to Tachana Merkazi, and then my route is right back. And then I do the thing back, and I do the thing back. Okay, so what do you do? So the way the halacha says, I've seen in Yakut Yosef, the halacha is once a week, Shabbat to Shabbat. If you are a pilot or a cab driver or a bus driver, you're on the road, you should be. I'm so sorry. I'm confusing a different halacha. Sorry. Time out. I'm confusing this with the halacha of Berachot Gomel. It happens to be that the requirement of saying Berachot Gomel for Sfaradim is someone who travels more than a parsa. It happens to be they align. The requirement of the journey is the same. Whether a bus driver says tefilat derech every day, I actually don't even know. I know it in the context of Berachot Gomel, that the way the halacha says is that they say it from week to week. I remember there was a guy here who would, when I was here with Rabbi Ben Chaim in the mornings, I haven't been coming here in the mornings as much. But when I used to, one of the guys here lived in Brooklyn. I think he's still here, but I think he lives in Great Neck. And this was his question. Every morning he's driving back and forth, back and forth. We opened up the halacha. We found that he should say it. So we went and we showed Rabbi Ben Chaim. Rabbi Ben Chaim said every Shabbat. Every Shabbat say Berachot Gomel. But I'm like convoluting two halachot here right now. There's the halacha of Berachot Gomel. There's the halacha of tefilat derech. Right now we're talking about tefilat derech. Whether he says tefilat derech after for every journey, I actually don't know. It's a good question. I have to look into it. I didn't get a chance to look into it. Yeah.
I should go back to the, but like what makes something like let's say think we're terrified of like planes. Let's say you say there and the dangerous part.
No. So, okay, I get your question. The question of tefilah kitzara is when someone is in some imminent danger, as it gives the examples of there's wild animals or there's robbers, wild animals or there's bandits. It's not that like you're scared or you get seasick or like you're even in a dangerous situation from let's say you're scared of a plane. Being in a plane is a dangerous situation.
Right.
It's a phobia. There has to be an imminent threat. There has to be an imminent threat. But you know what? It's a very good point. It's a very good point. What happens if someone is so anxious they cannot have kavanah at all? They can't. Can you do a tefilah kitzara in that situation? It's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah.
Question also going back with respect to the timing of when you should say tefilah derech. And first, let's say you shouldn't say when you're within your leisure.
Yes.
Going on a flight to Israel, you said you shouldn't really even say it like when you're on the plane. So you should technically say it like when you're on the way to the airport.
No. Okay. That's a good question. I think the practice is when you're sitting on the plane,
That's what usually.
and like either right before takeoff when you're like taxiing or right at takeoff, so you're at the beginning of your journey. But when you're driving, so this is going back to what I was saying. I mixed up to Berachot Gomel, which is 72 minutes, and tefilat derech. Tefilat derech, you're right. As it says, it's only if you're leaving the town. You're leaving the civilized town. If you're driving from here to Brooklyn, I don't think you say tefilat derech like ever. I don't think so. I think it's if you're leaving. But once you know you're going on a journey that you will be leaving, then you should say it at the beginning of your journey. So that's why when you get on a plane, you sit on the plane, you say tefilat derech.
Taking the city every day?
Taking a train to the city every day? No. I guess the Gomel question, if someone is commuting back and forth every day, I don't think that's a practice. I've never seen anyone saying Gomel because they go to the city. Not necessarily. This is my fault by mixing up Berachot Gomel into this. Really? Is it?
Is 72 minutes of travel.
Yeah, because that's the Gemara we're learning right now. It says parsa. But what if it's round trip? And what if you're going to this? What if you're just driving to New Jersey? Do you say tefilat derech? Sorry? And what if it's every day? All of the questions that I said about a pilot.
Driving to Newark, like 9 minutes away, and then you're taking a flight to Israel. You have to say it twice.
Right.
So much closer.
Sorry. Honestly, I spent so much time playing with my iPad this week I didn't have any time to actually learn Gemara. So I was hoping the Art Scroll app will just answer everything, but they didn't. My fault. No, okay. Okay, so I owe you, you know what I owe you guys? I owe you some nice halachot about tefilat derech halacha l'maaseh. Let's keep going with the Gemara to conclude, to like, because we're not done with the topic. Let's conclude the topic of tefilat derech in the Gemara. I want to talk about being angry and being drunk. And then after that, Be'ezrat Hashem, for next week, I owe you some halachot. Start broadcast. Okay, move over. Move my face. Share screen. Boom. Good. Okay, I'm getting it. Now, next question. I'm traveling, right? Now that I'm traveling, I'm sitting on my donkey. I'm sitting in my car. I'm going to say tefilat derech because I want to be in the car for the next hour plus, for the next 2 hours. How does he pray it? What position? Do I have to stop? Do I have to stand up like I would do for Amidah? Do I have to get off my donkey? Or am I allowed to just sit and keep going? Do I have to be stationary? Can I keep walking? Rav Chisda Amar Me'umad. Rav Chisda says you have to stand in place. Just like for Amidah, you stand in a place, so too for tefilat derech, you have to stand up in place. Rav Sheshat Amar Afilu Mehalech. Rav Sheshat says, even if you're traveling. Now, amazing. Rav Chisda says you have to stand. Rav Sheshat says you don't need to stand. You could be on your donkey and you could keep going. These are two colleagues, Rav Chisda and Rav Sheshat. Rav Sheshat was blind. Why is that important that Rav Sheshat was blind? For this next story. Rav Chisda and Rav Sheshat havu ka'azli ba'arucha, because they were once traveling together. Remember, Rav Sheshat required that if you're saying tefilah derech, you need to stand. Rav Chisda requires you to stand. Rav Sheshat didn't require you to stand. He said you could be on your donkey, you could keep going. Now, the one time happens to be they're traveling together. One of them, Rav Chisda, wants to stand. Rav Sheshat doesn't require you to stand, and he's blind. So what happens? Kam Rav Chisda v'kam mitzaleh. So Rav Chisda stood up, and he started doing tefilat derech. Amarle Rav Sheshat l'shames. Rav Sheshat says to his attendant, he has someone who helps him see, says, what's going on? Why did we stop? Why are we not going? Why am my donkey all of a sudden stopped? What's going on? So Maika Avid Rav Chisda, what is Rav Chisda doing? So Amale Ka'e u'mitzaleh, he got off his donkey. He's standing up, he's doing tefilat derech. Amarle, so he says to his attendant, Okmean nami ledidi ve'atzaleh. So I want to get up also. If we're going to the gas station, we're pulling up at the pit stop, and he's getting up to say it, my opinion is that I can say while I'm sitting. But if he's getting up, I'm going to get up. Why? Miyot tov al tikarera. If you can be good, do not be called bad. It's a pasuk. This concept of miyot tov al tikarera means if you can avoid something and you could do better, well, might as well. Since I can pray while standing, for the group with which I am traveling has stopped in any case, let me not be called bad by praying while traveling, even though I maintain that doing so is permitted. He holds that you don't have to, but once everyone is doing it, let me get up also. And it's an important concept in halacha. Miyot tov al tikarera. If you have you can do something and be lenient, but very easily you could do it according to all opinions. Why? Why should I not? Why should I, according to that opinion, I'm doing something wrong? Okay, he's standing up anyway. Are we going to get to our location anywhere faster? No, he's standing up. I'll get up also. Help me up. Pull me up. I'm going to pull over and I'm going to say tefilat derech standing up also. Okay? It's true. But the party's already stopping. So people who are here are going to think that anyway. He's decided, you know what? I'll be strict in this case, and I'll be like Rav Chisda. You're right. People might say, "Oh, he holds this way also." It's actually a valid point. Maybe he should make a point and say, "I'm sitting because I hold this way," but he didn't do that. Okay, now let's keep going. I owe you guys practical halachot and tefilat derech. Yeah, good. Someone remind me, please. I'll do that for next week. Now, remember, there's two types of prayers. There's Havinenu and tefilah kitzara. What is Havinenu? Say it again. It's a combination of the middle brachot. So Havinenu still has the first three. Then there's the middle is combo. Then there's the last three is regular. What is tefilah kitzara? A dangerous situation, and how long is it? we had four opinions, and it was all to the extent of like Jewish people need a lot of things, and we don't know what we need. Please give us what we need. Hashem, please help us in times of danger. Hashem, please this. It's like very short. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to ask us the difference between these two types of prayers. My ika ben havinenu tefilah kitzara. Besides the text, are there any halachic differences between these two? Here's what the Gemara says. Number one, Havinenu, the prayer of Havinenu, Ba'e letzaluye shalosh kamaita, shalosh batraita. He needs to recite the first three brachot, and the last three brachot. That's the first difference. Number two, and someone who prayed Havinenu on the road because it was a situation and he had to pray quickly, so he prayed Havinenu. When he gets home, he doesn't need to pray again. So it's time for shacharit. A person sees like I'm on the road, I got to travel, I can't focus. He says Havinenu. He says first three brachot, does the combo bracha in the middle, then does the last three brachot. Now he gets home, and there's still time to pray shacharit. He does not need to repeat it because you fulfilled your obligation. However, tefilah kitzara, when it comes to tefilah kitzara, lo ba'el etzaluye, lo shalosh kamaita, velo shalosh batraita. He does not need to pray the first three and the last three. So it's just like boom, one-liner. But since it's only a one-liner, when he gets home, ba'el etzaluye, he needs to pray. When he has that opportunity to pray, when he gets back home, he needs to do it. Does not take the place of shacharit, which goes back to Ben, your question. Was this tefilah kitzara in lieu of Amidah? In the moment it was. But if you get to safety afterwards, you're going to need to do the Amidah. You're going to need to do the Amidah in its full form. V'hilchita, and what is the halacha? The halacha is Havinenu me'umad. Remember, we had a machloka between Rav Chastan and Rav Sheshat if you need to stand for tefilat derech. And what about tefilah kitzara, and what about Havinenu? So here's the halacha. Hilcheta Havinenu me'umad. If a person is doing Havinenu, he must be standing up. Why must he be standing up? Because that is a good substitute for the Amidah. If he gets back home afterwards, he doesn't need to do Amidah again. So you got to do it standing up. Tefilah kitzara, but the short prayer, which is what he's saying in a dangerous situation, ben me'umad, ben me'alech. Whether you're traveling, or whether you're standing, or whether you're sitting, you're in a dangerous situation. The position doesn't matter. You could keep running. You could say tefilah kitzara as you're running. Footnote number 9, I believe this is the Ritva. Yeah, it is the Ritva. The Ritva gives a nice summary. Let's see footnote number 9. You guys could read this? Let's just give you one more. Footnote 9. Since a person fulfills his obligation of Shemona Esrei by reciting Havinenu, he must recite it standing. With regard to the tefilah kitzara, short prayer, however, since it does not fulfill his prayer obligation, as is evidenced by the fact that when he returns home he must pray it, it's not required for him to stand. In summary, we have discussed 4 types of prayers. Number 1, under normal circumstances, one recites while standing the full text of the Amidah. Barring any extenuating circumstances, none of the prayers listed below may be substituted for his text. Which means, number 1, we learned about Amidah, Shemona Esrei, which turned into the 19. And we learned the sources of the 18 and the 19. We learned all of that. That's all else equal, you pray the Amidah. In an emergency, this is B, such as when one is traveling, Havinenu may be recited and substituted for Shemona Esrei. If someone is traveling, he's allowed to say Shemona Esrei. This is what we saw in Tosfot. This prayer too is recited while standing. C, if one is traveling through a dangerous territory wherein concentrating is even more difficult, he prays the tefilah kitzara, ordained by the sages so that the traveler does not go utterly without some form of prayer. This supplication does not replace the Amidah. It may be recited even while traveling, even while you're moving and you're running away from the animals, you're allowed to say it. And D, completely unrelated, the wayfarer's prayer, that is tefilat derech. This prayer is recited whenever one travels, regardless of whether he has already prayed Shemona Esrei or expects to do so. Preferably, it is recited standing, like Rav Chasda, but it may also be recited while traveling, like what Rav Sheshat said and what Rav Sheshat did. Rav Sheshat said you're allowed to do it while you're traveling, while you're sitting, while you're traveling. But when Rav Chasda got up, what did he do? He got up. So you see, even he holds that it's preferable to stand. And that's why he's saying, I don't want to rely on this leniency, which means he himself holds that it's a leniency. He doesn't hold like this is the law. He holds it's a leniency that's preferably not to hold that way. And in a situation where it doesn't hurt to stand up, so he'll stand up. Okay? This is a good summary of the topic. Yes. Let's come to questions. Yeah, you had one? No? Yeah.
Like isn't being dirty or something, not obligated to doing the foot, or like you're not going to
Yeah.
first.
Correct.
Like,
Correct. So I guess when we say imminent threat, there's two types of imminent threats. There is the way I've been saying is like there's a bear running after you, which is like obviously you just get out of there, just survive. But then there's someone going through an area that has animals. I'm not being chased at the moment. Yeah, like the way I'm saying it is I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm going through a very dangerous area. Okay? It's not that someone is coming with a gun toward me, but
the soldier that goes to battle, I don't think they
no. If there's a soldier that is standing guard, that at any moment there could be a fire or something, he does not need to do even a tefilah kitzara. But he can. And that's what it says here, that here, how did they say it? They said it very nicely. The sages didn't want him to go utterly without some form of prayer. So someone is traveling, they're going through a very difficult trip, and it's a very dangerous place. Okay, you can't have kavanah, but at least say something. We'll make it very short for you to say. But when you get to your place, you got to do your prayer. Like, this doesn't work. So, correct. In an actual moment of danger, where there's a threat of life and death, person is patur from tefilah, 100%. But this is not that there's something in this very moment, but it's that I'm in a dangerous place and something could come at any moment. So you say tefilah kitzara. That's what it says. A soldier standing in a war zone, I think, is even above this type of thing. I think there is patur from everything. Question? No? All right. A couple topics. What time is it? All right. The concept of what Eliyahu Navi told Rav Yehuda, the brother of Salah Hasidah. What does he say? He says, "Lo, don't get angry, and you won't sin." Right? His lashon is. Let me read it. Lo tirtach velo techete. Don't become angry and don't sin. When someone has a temper issue, okay, which is very common, when someone has a temper issue, they become someone else. And in that moment, they are not themselves. They say things that they regret afterwards. They do damage to people around them that is irreversible. And this idea of anger, it's really something that a person loses control. It's extremely extreme. It just takes over. And that's why what he's saying is that it's as a prophet almost, but like this going straight to its core. If you don't want to make mistakes, control your anger. How it's so powerful, because in this one thing you really are able to control your entire emotional well-being. In the Igeret Ramban, the Ramban explains that anger is the source of sin. And so one way to counteract that is by keeping his voice calm. When someone keeps their voice calm, they keep their body calm, they're able to control their emotions more. Someone raises their voice. Raising your voice is extremely dangerous because that leads into anger, and that leading into anger leads into sin, leads into the next thing. Okay, what happens if you have a temper issue? What do you guys think? Let's talk about it. Let's say you have a temper problem. Let's say you've become angry. You've had your outburst. You need anger management. What do you do?
after.
Yeah, after the fact. In the moment, sorry, you're done. There's nothing you can do in the moment. It's very hard. What do you do tomorrow morning or the next morning when I realize, man, I messed up and I don't want this to happen again? Pray. Pray is good. You ask Hashem, Ribono Shel Olam, help me not to get angry again. Yeah, you do teshuvah. You do teshuvah because, as the Rambam tells us in Hilchot Teshuvah, that having bad midot is also an avon. It's not just doing the sin, but having bad midot is in and of itself a sin. So you need to do teshuvah. What else? Go to see a therapist? Yeah? If it's really bad, a person needs to work on it. That means he has to work, and if that means speaking to a therapist, If that means doing meditation, if it means doing deep breathing, if it means taking some pills, people do it. People take pills. Yeah, drink some alcohol. Yeah. So for that, Eliyahu Navi is a Navi. He knew that you were going to say that. So he said, but by the way, don't get drunk. Yeah, no, but okay. But even that, if a person needs to take a break, a person needs to take a smoke, these things are bad for you to take a smoke or to take a drink. But if that's what's going to calm him down from this, I guess you're leaving one dangerous thing and entering another thing. A person needs to be able to control his emotions. It's very difficult. Yeah, of course, this is all over Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot speaks about this all the time.
Does halachic describe anything from themselves about managing like your emotions or like having issues like this?
So, okay, very good. So Chazal, about anger, there's a lot of negative written about it. Like, kol hakoes, kol mine gehinam shotim bo. It's like it's like avodah zarah. Someone who gets angry, it's like a form of avodah zarah. Why is it avodah zarah? Why is it a form of idol worship? Because one of the explanations, like the mussar behind it, is why are you becoming angry? Because you're upset about what's going on. But who's running this world? This person? Someone cut you off. You're driving. Someone cut you off. You become furious. You road rage. These people do crazy things. You know what people will do? People will then go, drive, go over the shoulder, go in front of the person, go here, open the window, bang, 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 try to break something, break the wrist. What are you doing? Okay, so wherever you wanted to get to, you got there 3 seconds later. But in the moment, we lose control. Men have this more. Men have the raging testosterone. Women have it also. There's some women that have some anger issues. But men have it a lot. And it could be whoever. The point is that it's natural and you have to work against it. The point is that you need to do something. You need to do something. Now, what that is number one, learning mussar. Like the Ramban tells us, a person needs to work on keeping his voice calm. And this is something that maybe we know, but don't ever raise your voice. You know what's very aggravating? Having a conversation with someone and they keep talking over you. They keep talking over you, keep talking over you. So what are you going to do? You want to make yourself heard. So you're going to start raising your voice. But now that you're raising the volume, guess what? You're also raising the temperature. This is what the Ramban tells us. As you raise the volume, you raise the temperature. And as you raise the temperature, now you start to lose control. Don't play that game. The person's not letting you speak. Then you very firmly say, please let me finish. But not to start getting into a raging, shouting match. Because what happens is you lose yourself. This is one idea the Ramban tells us. The other idea is accepting that Ribono Shel Olam is running the world. Why am I becoming upset? Because I'm upset at the outcome, so I'm becoming angry. But understand that Ribono Shel Olam is running the world. That's why the Chazal tell us that it's a form of Avodah Zarah, because it's like not accepting God as Hashem. There's all other sorts of things a person has to do to make sure that he doesn't get angry, which is extremely critical. Yeah, you have this.
Logic applied to worrying.
Okay, anxiety. It's not really related, but yes, for sure. In this, there's a book called The Anxious Generation. Everyone, the youth, the Gen X or Gen Z, I don't know the difference. I think it's millennials, Gen Z, and Gen X. Whatever it is, everyone has anxiety. Everyone has depression. The stats are crazy how common this is. Where does this all come from? What's clear, that's not clear. But what's clear is that the stats are wild. Look at this charts. I have this book by Jonathan Haidt of The Anxious Generation. You know what? Let me just see Anxious Generation graphs. Let me see if I could find, hey. Google is forcing its Anxious Generation AI mode. Graphs. Let me see if I can find the graphs for a second. Here we go. Look at this. Open image. I'm going to share link for everyone who wants to see it. Share. Look at this. Mental illness amongst college-age students. Okay? So this right here, by the way, this is dated. I think this is as of 2019 or 2019. This means that 25% of undergraduates, 25% of US college students have anxiety. And that was 134 increase from 2010, which means 2010 it was about 10%. and then it's 25%. And I think the numbers are even higher now. This is as of 2019. COVID, the numbers went over 100%. More people had anxiety than people who existed. It's not possible. But the crazy numbers that it took over. Depression, 20%. You know what that means? Shalom Edah. We have more than 4 or 5 people in this room. That means 1 or 2 of us suffer from anxiety and depression. 1 or 2 of us. Why? That's just the way the numbers go. So to your point, how does someone deal with this? Of course, there are times, there is, I will say, as an education professional, you can't say everything is in your head. There are certain people that have mental illness. There are certain people that have chemical imbalance. There are certain people that are struggling with bipolar. There are certain people that are struggling with, it could be all sorts of things. And you need to go see a doctor. And there are certain people that whatever it is, there's some psychiatric issue. And what they need to do is they need to take a pill. They need to take medicine. They need to take a relaxant because otherwise there's nothing they can do. It's not in their control. So I have to say that. We're not saying everything is mussar. You can't just learn the Ramban and sometimes a person needs to see a doctor. Okay? But a lot of it is in our heads. And a lot of it is being able to accept Hashem, accept the world around us, accept that Ribono Shel Olam is running the world. We do our best and Hashem is supporting us. Ribono Shel Olam takes care of us. And I have a story about this to share, but you have a comment? I'm going to say the story of the Chavetz Chaim in a minute.
Mom have like his own prescription of how to balance yourself. Like you're at one extreme, you got to the other, and you kind of beat yourself in the middle.
Very good. Very good. The Ramban speaks about the Shvil HaZahav, the golden mean. And he says when it comes to all of the midot, being at any extreme is a problem. So being overly anxious and worrying about everything is a problem. But also being completely carefree. You know what the opposite of having anxiety is being reckless. Being negligent. You don't think about anything. There's a guy that's driving like this. But then there's someone who's driving that's driving like this. They're both a problem. Because what's going to happen is both of them are going to get in an accident. Doesn't matter if you're looking this way, anxiety on 100%, or eyes closed, chill, hakuna matata. No worries. Hakuna matata, you're going to get in a car accident. Okay, it's hakuna matata. It's a great phrase for after the fact something happens, you accept that Ribono Shel Olam did this. By the way, it's one of my mottos. I do say hakuna matata, and it's very helpful. But that's after the fact. Before the fact, you need to think about things. You need to make sure you're making the right decisions. You need to think about whether you're being prudent. For sure, you need to. So, like you said, there's a balance. Some anxiety and prudence is important because if you don't have that, you're being negligent. So you do need a balance of it. The Chavetz Chaim says the following mashal. He says the following mashal that once there was a guy who's driving in a car who is hitchhiking. He's on the side of the road and he has 4 bags of luggage and he needs a ride. So he's putting his arm out trying to catch a ride. And someone is going by, and as they're going by, they see him, they pull over, they say, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to this place." He's like, "I'm going to the same place." And he says, "I have all of these bags, I can't walk." And he says, "I have space. You could come in, I'll give you a ride all the way exactly to where you want." This person is so thankful. "Thank you so much. Thank you. You don't know, you're saving me. I had to be there by this time." Everything, just like thinking, gets inside the car, pulls up, takes the one luggage, puts it on his lap, takes the other luggage, puts it on his lap, takes the other bag, puts it on his back, takes the last one, puts it on his head, and sits like this. And the driver says, there's a trunk. What are you doing? He says, no, don't worry, I'm going to be like this. He's like, what are you're out of your mind. Why are you putting your luggage all over you? He says, "Look, you've done so much kindness for me by giving me a ride. I don't want you to have to give a ride to my luggage. Don't worry, this I'll take care of." Are you crazy? Your luggage is coming with us. You think by taking all of this on yourself, you're making things any better? No, you're just adding weight to yourself for absolutely nothing. The Chavetz Chaim says the same is true when a person worries about everything. Ribono Shel Olam is taking care of you. From the moment we're born, we have what to eat, we have what to drink, we have what to breathe. In the womb, we weren't eating, we weren't drinking, we weren't breathing. We weren't. We come out, all of a sudden it all works. All of a sudden, Hashem provides through the mother, who's now all of a sudden is able to nurse and to provide for the child's sustenance. All of a sudden, the child opens up his mouth and starts breathing. From the moment we're born, we're taken care of. And as we grow, our needs and our the things that we need from our body, we eat something, the body knows how to differentiate. This is good, this is bad. Keep this, give the nutrition throughout my body. This, spit out. The body knows that. You don't need to think about which part of the food is good or bad. You don't need to filter it out. Ribono Shel Olam is taking care of you. And now you want to take it, but I worry about this, I worry about this, I worry about this, I worry about this. Ribono Shel Olam, the driver is looking at you and he's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you carrying all of this weight on yourself? You could put it in the trunk. I'm here. Does that mean you shouldn't be prudent? Of course not. Does that mean you could drive with your eyes closed? Of course not. But there's a balance. There's a balance. And the balance is I think things through, I'm prudent, I'm careful, I make the right decisions, but there are certain things that I have to accept from Ribono Shel Olam. And so this is definitely part of how we deal with anger. Part of how we deal with anger and with anxiety is knowing that what are you going to get angry about? This guy, I want to let you guys into a small story, and then we'll end up with this. I didn't even get to talk about drinking. You guys are lucky. You have one more week, okay? You have one more week, and then no more Kiddush Club. But for one, I want to tell you an amazing story. I told this to my son Shai. He was dying of laughter. What happened is there's one older gentleman. We're not going to say any names. That I've seen him driving in the car, honking at people, just left and right, just honking. Like someone is like at a stop sign, gets there, honk. The guy's down the block honking. Okay, so I've seen it. So I once told myself that if anyone, this is how one of the ways I deal with anger. I told myself that if anyone's ever honking at me, like in an obnoxious way, obviously if it's a way that something is dangerous, good. But if someone ever honks at me in an obnoxious way, I'm gonna, in my mind, imagine it's him. Because all of a sudden it just becomes hilarious. Okay, I don't want you to know who I'm talking about. You might know who I'm talking about. It's someone that maybe you know. And if you're in Great Neck on the roads, you might hear this person. But I just told myself that if it's him, it's hilarious. So that's what I do. And so it happens. Sometimes someone like just honking, in my mind is him, and it's just I laugh. Okay, that's how I deal with it. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Friday afternoon, I was driving home right before Shabbat. I'm in a rush to get home. Okay, I'm not like taking it slow. I got to a stop sign. You know, you got to do a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I was at 1 Mississippi, someone behind me honking that I'm at a stop sign, honking like crazy. And I'm like, what is going on? And I look at my rear view and it's the guy. It's him. It's actually him. And I said, Baruch Hashem, that was actually the best thing that could have happened to me. And it actually happened that this guy letting out his road rage onto me, it's hilarious. It was, you don't know, it made my Shabbat. And I told this to Shai. I told this to Shai that, you know what? Sometimes that something's going to make you angry and you get to choose. You get to choose how you respond. And this is how I decided I'm going to choose. I decided that someone's going to give me a reason to be angry. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to have a laugh out of it. And Ribono Shel Olam, I think, accepted my message, and that's why he sent him to me. He sent him to me and he said, "It's a good idea. What you're doing is a good idea." These are things that you have to do. You have to. The anger destroys people's lives. It destroys shidduchim. It destroys homes. It destroys relationships with parents. It destroys relationships with kids. It destroys everything. If someone has a mental issue, they need to get help for it, because it's going to be a burden for everyone else around them, and you're going to be destroying your lives and their lives with you. And if someone doesn't have a mental issue, they just have this anger issue, fix it. How? I'm not saying it's easy, but it takes mussar, it takes meditation, it takes therapists, it takes learning emunah. It takes these games and these gimmicks of like trying to find things that where you calm yourself down. It takes not raising your voice. All of this is critical and important. And there's a reason why I'm spending so much time talking about this, because I know it's common. I know it's common, and I know it's important, and I know that there's someone who is going to see this somewhere and think about this. Think about ways of protecting yourself. Lo tirtach velo techete, Eliyahu Navi says, you don't need to be a prophet for this, but you know how do you prevent sin? By not becoming angry. That takes work, but if you do the work on that end, then the sin is not going to happen because you're in control. I hope that we could really instill within our minds that Ribono Shel Olam is running the world. Hashem is running the world, and there's no reason to get angry. There's no reason to get angry. And with that, hopefully all of our relationships will be good. Hashem, all of our actions will be good. We'll be proud of everything that we do, and everyone around us will be happy as well. Because if not, Chas v'shalom, it could be the opposite. Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope and pray that we all will be able to be in control of our emotions and have a very home filled with shalom bayit. Hazak baruch, everyone. Have a good night.